"You can't change," his wife whispered, the divorce certificate in her hand, a final verdict on his worthless life. He was a gambler, a violent drunk, a monster who had bruised her face and broken his daughter's heart. He watched her walk away, penniless and despised, the echo of his child's scream, "Don't hit my daddy." The only thing he had left. But a desperate fight and a blow to the head didn't just knock him out. It awakened something within him, the ability to see the future. 1 year later, the city's most powerful heir, a man who could crush empires with a word, fell to his knees before Liam. "Brother Liam, you saved my entire family." The tycoon wept, his voice trembling. "My $5 million shipment. The industrial poison. How could you possibly have known?" Liam had foreseen the stock market crash, the deadly shipwreck, and the political scandal that would rock the city. He could build a fortune from dust and command the respect of kings. But could he foresee a path back to the woman who believed he was irredeemable? Could all the power in the world mend a heart he had shattered with his own hands? The wheels of the taxi spun, the familiar city streets blurring into a painful backdrop. Azure Bay City. City Hall. The words were like an ice-cold needle, piercing the chaotic fog in Liam Lin's mind. This wasn't a dream or a phantom of the future. This was happening now. He, Liam Lin, was on his way to get a divorce. Beside him sat his wife, Chloe. She had once been the most brilliant light in his life, but now, that light had dimmed. Her beautiful face was marred by several purplish bruises, stark against her pale skin. Strands of messy hair fell across her face, failing to hide the vacant look in her eyes. She stared out the window, as if trying to cast her very soul out of the speeding metal box. His relentless pursuit in college, the vows they'd made, the beautiful promises for the future, all of it now amounted to a desperate, mocking smile on her lips. The final straw had come yesterday. Liam had gotten into another massive argument with Chloe's family, even trading blows with her brother, Caleb. In the chaos, he was pushed, his head striking the corner of a table. He'd lost consciousness instantly. The 2 hours he was out felt like a long, slow death. When he woke up, the world was the same, but his mind was not. It was filled with memories that weren't his, memories of the future. That impact had finally, truly woken him up. Liam looked at the bruises on Chloe's face, and his heart felt like it was being squeezed by an invisible hand, the pain stealing his breath. He lifted his hand and, with all his strength, slapped himself across the face. The sharp, heavy crack of sound exploded in the small space. The driver, an older man, jumped in his seat, his startled eyes meeting Liam's in the rearview mirror. Chloe was finally pulled from her trance. She turned her head slowly, her gaze as indifferent as if she were looking at a stranger, before turning back to the window. She had seen this play before. The repentance after the abuse, the tearful apologies, they were always just a prelude to the next, more violent act. "Son," the driver began, hesitating. "A real man, no matter what, doesn't raise a hand to a woman. That girl married you for stability, for someone to lean on, not to be your punching bag." Every word struck Liam like a hammer blow. He remembered the look in Chloe's eyes on the day he proposed, a look full of hope for their future, for him. Why had he become this scum of the earth? Gambling, drinking, violence. He had personally extinguished that light, piece by piece. Another slap, harder this time. He wished he could just destroy his own face. "Enough," Chloe finally said, her voice terrifyingly calm. "I'm tired of your little show. Stop acting." 10 minutes later, the car pulled up to the entrance of City Hall. The gray building stood solemn and imposing, like a courthouse passing judgment on people's lives. Liam reached for his wallet, but after patting all his pockets, he found nothing but a few dollars in his digital payment app. He had lost everything at the card table last night. Chloe silently pulled out a $10 bill and handed it to the driver. She pushed the door open and got out, never once looking back at him. As Liam was about to follow, the driver stopped him. "Kid, take my advice," he said in a low voice. "A woman like that, if you lose her, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Don't be like me." Liam froze. A crystal-clear image flashed in his mind. He spun around, his eyes fixed on the driver. At the next intersection, turn left. "Huh? You're not getting out?" the driver asked, confused. "I'm getting out," Liam said, his voice urgent. "But you have to turn left. Do not go straight. Remember, no matter what, don't go straight. If you don't listen and you get hit, get out of the car immediately, as fast as you can." With that, he shut the door and hurried after Chloe's retreating figure. "Crazy kid," the driver muttered, dismissing it as a lover's spat. He hit the gas and drove straight toward the intersection. 100 meters ahead, the light was green. The way was clear. But just as the taxi entered the middle of the crossroads, a massive dump truck, like an out-of-control steel beast, came roaring from the right. The shriek of brakes tore through the air, followed by a deafening crash. The taxi was thrown a dozen meters, its front end instantly mangled. The driver, saved by his seatbelt, was dizzy and disoriented. Liam's warning echoed in his mind like a thunderclap. As if struck by lightning, he fumbled with his seatbelt and scrambled out of the driver's side. The second his feet hit the pavement, the fuel tank exploded. Flames engulfed the car. A wave of heat washed over him, and he collapsed to the ground, drenched in a cold sweat. He looked back toward City Hall, but the young man and his wife were gone. A prophet. The word escaped his trembling lips. Inside City Hall, the air in the waiting area was cold and oppressive. Your head. Is it okay? Chloe asked, a trace of lingering concern in her voice. It's fine, Liam answered. More than fine. The blow had not only knocked sense into his pathetic life, it had given him the ability to see the future. Good. Chloe seemed to let out a breath of relief, as if settling a final debt. She took out a piece of paper covered in her neat handwriting. The total debt is $82,000, all from your gambling. But we're still married, so it's a joint debt. We'll each take half. My brother hit you yesterday. I apologize on his behalf. She paused, taking a deep breath as if summoning all her strength. She looked up, her red-rimmed eyes locking onto his. Sophie is only 4. Let her stay with me. Please. I'm begging you. Can you do that? Liam's body shook. Sophie, their 4-year-old daughter. The proud Chloe, who never bowed her head to anyone, was now using the word beg for custody of their child. Tears finally streamed down her face. Liam, you said you'd love me forever, that you'd make me the happiest woman in the world. I never wanted riches. I just wanted a simple, peaceful life. Why? Why is something so simple for everyone else so hard for me? He wanted to rush forward and hold her, but when he reached out, she flinched back like a startled bird, her eyes filled with terror. It was a conditioned reflex, a fear of violence etched into her very bones. Liam's hand froze in midair, his nails digging into his palm. All he could say was, I'm sorry. Let's go. Chloe wiped her tears as the announcer called their number. She turned, her back rigid and final. But Liam could see the slight tremble in her shoulders, a final flicker of hesitation. This poor woman, even now, still had feelings for the monster he had become. Chloe, he lunged forward and grabbed her arm. Give me one last chance. I swear, if I ever act like a bastard again, may I be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. Her body trembled violently, but the shaking soon subsided into a dead stillness. She gave a sad smile. You can't change. She pulled her arm free and walked to the counter. She looked back and, with her last bit of strength, said, Are you only happy when you've pushed me to the edge? Liam's feet were rooted to the spot. When the red booklet stamped with the golden words, divorce certificate, was in his hands, Liam felt the color drain from the world. Chloe didn't look relieved or free. Her face was ashen, as if a part of her soul had been ripped away. Sis, a hurried voice called out. Her brother, Caleb, ran over. He snatched the certificate from Chloe's hand and, upon seeing the words, burst into joyous laughter. You did it? Great. You finally divorced this piece of trash. He then kicked Liam hard in the stomach. Liam stumbled back and fell. Caleb pointed at him, still fuming. You son of a bitch. I was blind to let my sister marry garbage like you. If you ever harass her again, I'll kill you. Liam didn't fight back. He just watched as Caleb helped Chloe into a taxi and disappeared around the corner. He slowly got up, dusting himself off. The physical pain was nothing compared to the agony in his chest. Chloe, wait for me, he whispered to the empty street. This time, I won't let you down. Just then, his phone rang. The caller ID was Leo Lee, his creditor. Liam, you have 3 days. Is the $82,000 ready? The voice on the other end was flat. Mr. Lee, can you give me a few more days? 1 week, Leo seemed to sigh. 1 more week is the most I can give you. If you can't pay up, I'll have to come collect according to the rules. Leo had a decent reputation. He didn't push people too far, which was why Liam had borrowed from him. Just as he was about to hang up, an idea sparked in Liam's mind. Mr. Lee, wait. He took a deep breath. In 5 minutes, a man named Julian Zhang will come to your office for a $500,000 loan to cover a company funding gap. Do not give it to him. If you do, you will lose every penny. There was a moment of silence, then Leo's dismissive laugh. Well, look at you, a fortune teller now. I have my own team for risk assessment, kid. I don't need you to tell me how to do business. Believe it or not, Liam's tone was calm. Interesting, Leo's interest was piqued. You like to gamble, right? Let's make a bet. If you're right, I'll wipe $10,000 off your debt. If you're wrong, you owe me another $10,000. You in? This was his only chance. Done. Liam agreed without hesitation. But I have a condition. If you lose, besides forgiving the $10,000, you have to give me $10,000 in cash up front. I'll pay you the rest in a week. He needed seed money. Are you crazy? Fine, I'll take that bet. Leo laughed and hung up. At Leo's financial firm, he leaned back in his chair and lit a cigarette. Just then, there was a knock on his office door. The receptionist let in a man in a sharp suit and gold-rimmed glasses. Mr. Lee, this is Julian Zhang, CEO of Haining Networks. He'd like to discuss a loan. Leo's hand, holding the cigarette, froze in midair. He looked at the distinguished man before him, then at the clock on the wall. It had been just over 4 minutes since he'd hung up with Liam. How much are you looking to borrow, Mr. Zhang? Leo asked, hiding the shock he felt. Julian Zhang smiled confidently and held up 5 fingers. 500,000. Exactly the same. Not a dollar off. A chill ran down Leo's spine. We have a big project coming up, just need some temporary cash flow, Julian explained, dangling the bait. 3 months. I'll pay you back $60,000 in interest. A $600,000 return. What do you say, Mr. Lee? It was a golden opportunity. But Liam's words, "You will lose every penny," echoed in his head. He looked at Julian's confident smile and slowly shook his head. 500,000 is no small sum. I need to discuss it with my partners. Julian's face fell. He stood up to leave. If it's too much trouble for you, Mr. Lee, then forget it. Watching 100,000 in profit walk out the door was painful. Leo picked up the phone and dialed Liam. You little bastard, you were actually right. Liam's calm, confident voice came from the other end. It seems you made the right choice, Mr. Lee. Don't worry, you'll see the results by tomorrow. After hanging up, Leo still felt a sting of regret. He called his assistant. From now on, I want you to watch Haining Networks 24/7. Report any movement to me immediately. The night descended like a heavy curtain, pressing down on the noise and lights of Azure Bay City. Liam sat alone on the cold steps of the city square, an island forgotten by the world. He was homeless. The apartment once filled with the laughter of him, Chloe, and Sophie was a past he couldn't bear to face. All his savings, all their warmth, had been squandered by his own hands at gambling tables and in bitter arguments. Just then, his phone vibrated. The screen lit up with 2 words, Chloe Chun. Liam jolted, his hand trembling as he answered the call. But the voice on the other end was soft and small. Daddy, where are you? It was Sophie. Her voice alone made Liam's eyes burn. He could picture Chloe standing right beside her, her heart too soft to not let their daughter make the call. Daddy, do you have a place to sleep? The little girl asked cautiously. A heavy stone seemed to lodge in his chest, making it hard to breathe. This child, whom he had yelled at countless times, was worried he'd be sleeping on the streets. He cleared his throat, trying to make his voice sound hopeful. Don't worry, Sophie. Daddy has a place to stay. You be good and listen to Mommy, okay? When Daddy makes a lot of money, I'll buy you a big house filled with toys and snacks. You can do it, Daddy. The call ended, and the world returned to silence. Liam stared up at the starless sky, letting the cold wind dry the moisture from his eyes. He sat on those steps all night, his body stiff, but a fire burned within him. He spent the night gazing into the torrent of the future, charting a path for himself that was fraught with danger, but led toward the light. As the first rays of dawn pierced the darkness, his phone's battery fell to 9%. At that exact moment, it rang again. The caller was Leoli. Liam's lips curved into a smile. He answered, his voice relaxed. Mr. Lee, sounds like you didn't get much sleep last night. Leo's voice was a mix of exhaustion and a strange, manic excitement. You kid, where did you learn this stuff? Did you investigate Haining Networks beforehand? Liam just listened. Last night at 9, Haining Networks completely imploded. Leo's voice shot up. Their products killed someone. All their celebrity endorsers are tangled in scandals. This morning, the authorities raided their offices and shut them down. That John guy is probably going to spend the rest of his life in prison. Leo's voice was trembling. It was the sound of fear, of relief after narrowly escaping a catastrophe. Without Liam's call, his firm's $500,000 would have been an unrecoverable bad debt. He would have lost every penny. Leo took a deep breath, his tone becoming serious. Don't call me Mr. Lee anymore. You saved my life this time. From now on, you're my brother. Since we're brothers, Liam said, his voice playful, then, isn't it time to send the money? There was a pause, followed by Leo's wry laugh. I'm talking about brotherhood, and you're talking about money? Fine. Send me your account details. I'll transfer it right away. A moment later, a bank notification chimed on his phone. It was music to his ears. Account balance, $100,000. Liam clutched his phone. This was his first real win, the first rung on the ladder out of the abyss. His first act was to find a small motel, take a long, hot shower, and then rent a small studio apartment. By the time he was settled, it was 8 in the morning. He didn't rest. Instead, he took a taxi straight to the city's largest stadium. In 2 days, the A-list singer Jaden Lin would be holding his first ever solo concert there. Tickets were set to go on sale at 10 this morning. But Liam knew that in just 5 minutes, a massive scandal was about to break, one that would destroy the pop star's career. This was his real first bet. He called Leoli. Leo, want to make some real money. After the Haining Networks incident, Leo had developed an almost blind faith in Liam. Brother, what's the plan? I'm all ears. Bring your money and come to the first stadium, Liam said and hung up. He looked toward the ticket office, where a long line had already formed, filled with the excited faces of young fans. Liam opened his phone and checked social media. The number 2 trending topic was Jaden Lin's first solo concert. The minutes ticked by. At 9 o'clock sharp, a new topic appeared out of nowhere at the top of the trending list. Jaden Lin's shocking scandal. It spread like a virus. Jaden Lin accused of assaulting a minor. Jaden Lin smoking in public. Jaden Lin lip-syncing allegations. In just 20 minutes, these explosive headlines, each with convincing photos and so-called insider leaks, had taken over 8 of the top 20 trending spots. The crowd in line was oblivious until 9:25, when a young man's shout pierced the air. "No way! This can't be real." His shocked, high-pitched voice drew everyone's attention. A murmur grew into a roar. The glow of phone screens illuminated faces shifting from adoration to confusion to shock and anger. A photo of Jaden Lin in a hotel bed with an underage girl was the hammer that shattered every fan's fantasy. "He's a fraud. A hypocrite. Oh my God, I can't believe I was a fan. Lip-syncing? Am I paying to listen to a recording?" The collapse of faith was instantaneous. The long line broke apart in chaos, a mixture of curses and sobs filling the air. The once bustling ticket office was suddenly deserted. The ticket seller stared in bewilderment, as if waking from a bizarre dream. Just then, Leo Lee ran up, out of breath and beaming. "Brother, what's the good news?" His words died as he saw where Liam was pointing. The empty ticket office. You didn't bring me here to buy Jaden Lin tickets, did you?" "Not only am I buying, I'm dragging you in with me," Liam smiled. "I'm out." Leo turned to leave. This was insane. "Leo, an opportunity like this won't come again." Liam's calm voice followed him. Leo stopped, his face a mask of conflict. He couldn't understand it, but the fear of Liam's almost supernatural foresight won out over his logic. He gritted his teeth. "Fine, I'll be crazy with you this one time." An hour later, when the ticket price had plummeted from a frenzy of $100 to a rock-bottom 10, 2 figures appeared at the ticket window. The seller looked at them and thought only one word: suckers. "Mid-tier seats. 970 of them," Liam said, handing over his bank card. Leo looked at Liam's calm face, thought of the $500,000 he had almost lost, and steeled himself. "Give me 5,000, he roared. When they held the 2 thick stacks of tickets, a total of 5,970, Leo felt like the world's biggest fool. He looked at Liam with a pained expression. "Brother, I'm betting my life on you this time." Liam just clapped him on the shoulder, glanced at his brand-new Audi A8, and said softly, "Leo, you had 200,000 ready, but only spent 50. What a shame." He turned and walked away with a wave. "Go home. Just wait for the news tomorrow." Liam lay on the strange bed in his cheap apartment, the city's neon lights casting shifting patterns on his face through the thin curtains. He was down to his last $200. The 10,000 in seed money had vanished like ice in a furnace. He wanted to see Sophie, to hold his sweet little girl tightly in his arms, but reality was a cold, hard wall blocking his way. Guilt, like a poisonous vine, coiled around his heart, making every breath a sharp pain. How could he have ever hit that little girl, the one who called him daddy in her soft, sweet voice? "Liam, you bastard, you're lower than an animal," he cursed himself over and over in his mind, until consciousness faded into a sea of regret and slipped into darkness. He was dragged from his nightmare by the frantic ringing of his phone. The sun was already bright. He glanced at his phone, 11 in the morning. It was Leo Lee. "Leo, you sound excited. Are you calling to buy me dinner?" Liam's voice was hoarse from sleep, but his tone was confident. Leo's voice was a joyous shout, nearly bursting through the earpiece. "Boss, you're my damn hero. Forget dinner. I'll buy you whatever you want." "What's with the change of heart?" Liam chuckled, already knowing the answer. "Brother, I was wrong, so wrong." Leo's voice was thick with regret. "I should have listened to you yesterday and thrown all 200,000 in. I'm kicking myself right now." Liam kept the phone to his ear as he opened a news app. The headlines were plastered with stories about Jaden Lin, but the narrative had completely flipped. Hashtag Jaden Lin clarifies. Hashtag identity off minor revealed. Hashtag vaping not smoking. A series of explosive, viral tags announced a perfectly executed PR victory. The girl in the photo was his younger sister. The supposed cigarette was a realistic-looking vape pen. And the lip-syncing? Utter nonsense. Overnight, all the negative press had vanished, and Jaden Lin's image was now that of a dedicated, family-loving man. Beneath the trending topic hashtag Jaden Lin's concert will proceed as scheduled, thousands of fans were wailing in regret, apologizing for not buying tickets sooner. Liam closed the app and spoke into the phone. "Sounds like Jaden Lin's concert tickets are going to sell like crazy now, huh?" On the other end, Leo could only manage a bitter laugh. He sent Liam a photo of the stadium's ticket office. It was mobbed with people, a crowd several times larger than the day before. The $100 tickets were now priceless, impossible to find. "See you at the stadium at 7 tonight," Liam said and hung up, a strategic glint in his eye. That evening, the stadium was bathed in light. Leo was already waiting, accompanied by 7 or 8 large men. He saw Liam and ran over like he was greeting a god of wealth, rubbing his hands together and whispering, "Brother, what's our price?" "Leo, we're just selling tickets. What are you so nervous about?" Liam laughed at his conspiratorial manner. "Let's go with 200 apiece. Any less is boring. Any more, and people will complain." 200. Leo's eyes widened, then filled with overwhelming joy. A $10 investment for a $200 return. A 20-fold profit. His 5,000 tickets would net him $1 million. Just then, a commotion came from the ticket office. The official channels were completely sold out. Let's begin, Liam nodded to Leo. He took a deep breath and yelled at the top of his lungs. Jade and Lynn concert tickets. Mid-tier seats. First come, first served. His voice was like a stone dropped into a still pond. The crowd, dejected from being unable to buy tickets, swarmed them like sharks smelling blood. A tide of people surged forward, hands waving cash in the air, surrounding them completely. They're real. They're actual tickets. 200 is fine. Give me one. I'll take all you have. Nearly 6,000 tickets were gone in less than half an hour. By the time angry security guards pushed through to disperse them, their hands were empty. Walking away from the chaotic stadium, Liam looked at the string of numbers on his banking app, $194,000. The figure was a searing brand on his heart, making it pound in his chest. Leo, his face flushed with excitement, handed Liam a bottle of water. Brother, you're a genius. I've never been impressed by anyone in my life, but you've got my respect. Leo, give me your account number. I'll pay back the $82,000 I owe you, Liam said, his voice calm. He didn't want to owe anyone. Pay me back? Hell no. Leo jumped, his face turning red. Liam, are you looking down on me? You helped me make a fortune. I can't thank you enough, and you want to settle this little debt. If you really want to be square, fine. Take the whole $1 million we made. From now on, we go our separate ways. Seeing Leo's determination, Liam knew pushing it further would be an insult. All right then, I won't be polite. That's more like it. Leo grinned, a weight lifted from his shoulders. He knew that by sticking with Liam, $1 million was probably just the beginning. By the way, Liam remembered, Chloe and I are divorced. If she comes to your office to make a payment. Divorced? Leo was stunned for a moment, then sighed. Brother, I've been there. A woman like your wife is a treasure you couldn't find even if you searched with a lantern. You can't let her down. Liam looked out at the sparkling city lights, his gaze deep and determined. The divorce was the end. Getting remarried is the beginning. This time, I'm going to give her the best life possible. The next morning, a weary figure appeared at the entrance of Leo's financial firm. Chloe was dressed in simple, old clothes, wearing the same high heels she'd bought for their wedding. The faint bruises on her face, a stark contrast to her natural elegance, drew sympathetic and surprised glances from passers-by. She took a deep breath, suppressing her anxiety and humiliation, and walked into the building she knew all too well. Chloe, you're here, the young woman at the front desk said, handing her a glass of water with pity in her eyes. Yes. Chloe took an envelope from her purse. It contained the $300 she had scraped together. This month. This is all I have. Chloe, you don't have to. The receptionist started, but Chloe just shook her head. Suddenly, the receptionist added, Mr. Lee mentioned yesterday that if you came, he wanted to see you personally. See me? Chloe's heart sank. A loan shark's boss wanted to see her? She suddenly remembered Liam's strangely calm demeanor during the divorce. A terrible thought exploded in her mind. That bastard. Had he sold her out in a fit of rage? The dam of her despair broke, and a flood of anger and grief overwhelmed her. As her body trembled, Leo Lee came running out of his office, a broad smile on his face. Sister-in-law, you're finally here? My brother can't stop singing your praises. Seeing you today, I can tell you're as stunning as he said. Sister-in-law? My brother? The words were like two poisoned daggers stabbing into Chloe's heart. So it was true. It was all true. Don't call me that. We're divorced. Chloe screamed, losing control as tears streamed down her face. Tell me, how much more did he borrow from you? What does he want from me now? I'm telling you, this is a society of laws. No one is going to force me to do anything. A misunderstanding. A huge misunderstanding. Leo was sweating, completely thrown by her sudden outburst. He coaxed and pleaded, nearly begging her to come into his office. What do you really want? Are you using this to threaten me? Chloe asked, her face a mask of ice as she stared at the familiar debt note Leo placed on the table. Leo didn't speak. Instead, right in front of her, he took the note in both hands and ripped it. A sharp, tearing sound echoed in the silent office. The note, detailing an $82,000 debt and stamped with Liam's bright red thumbprint, was torn in half, then into quarters, then eighths. Countless black paper scraps fluttered down like butterflies. Chloe stared, frozen, as if the world had stopped. Her mind went blank. All she could do was watch the pieces of paper drift onto the polished floor and onto her own shattered heart. In the old part of the city, in a worn-down apartment complex, everything carried the rust of time. Liam stood before a battered security door, holding several shopping bags, feeling more nervous than he ever had before a business deal. Sophie, it's Daddy. Can you open the door for Daddy? His voice was so gentle, it felt foreign even to himself. From inside, his daughter's small but wary voice replied, No. Mommy said not to open the door for anyone. Daddy brought you your favorite fried chicken and burgers, and a Princess Elsa toy, Liam said, a slight tremor in his voice. Really? The voice behind the door was filled with excitement. but it quickly faded. But, Mommy said I can't. And, you'll get mad and hit me again. That sentence was a sharp knife plunging into Liam's heart. Through the crack in the door, he could see his daughter's small, thin face, and his eyes instantly reddened. He wanted to explain, to apologize, but all words felt empty and powerless. Just then, the door across the hall opened, and their neighbor, Mrs. Wong, came out. When she saw Liam, her eyes immediately filled with alarm, as if she were looking at a bomb about to go off. What are you trying to do now? Mrs. Wong's voice was stern. Chloe isn't home. Are you trying to trick Sophie into opening the door so you can steal money again? The old woman had been a teacher, and she carried an air of righteousness. She pointed a finger at Liam, years of pent-up anger finally erupting. Liam, look at yourself. Chloe makes less than $4,000 a month, trying to raise a child and pay off your debts. They can barely afford to eat. And you? All you do is gamble and hit them. Sophie is just a child. What gives you the right to take out your frustrations on her every time you lose money? Do you have any humanity left? Mrs. Wong grew more furious as she spoke, raising her cane to strike him. Liam didn't move. He stood there, bracing for the long-overdue punishment. But from inside, Sophie's tearful shriek cut through the air, "Don't hit my daddy." But from inside, Sophie's tearful shriek cut through the air, "Don't hit my daddy." Mrs. Wong's cane froze in midair and then fell limply to her side. She sighed heavily. Look at that. You're a complete disaster, and your child still defends you. Search your conscience. Do you deserve them? She turned to go back inside, but Liam stopped her. He took out $1,000 and some nutritional supplements from his pocket. Mrs. Wong, this is the money I've owed you for 4 years. And these are for you and Mr. Song. Thank you for taking care of Chloe and Sophie all this time. Mrs. Wong was stunned. She stared at Liam in disbelief. Was this the same selfish, lying scoundrel? Mrs. Wong. Liam's knees buckled, and he dropped to the ground, startling the old woman. What are you doing? I'm telling you, I'm not lending you any more money. I'm not here to borrow money. Liam looked up, his eyes filled with sincere tears. I was an animal before. Thank goodness you and Mr. Song were there to look after them. I, Liam Lin, will remember your kindness for the rest of my life. I swear I will change. I will treat them right, and I will honor you both like my own family. His kneeling was heartfelt. Mrs. Wong's tired eyes grew moist. She helped him up, dusted off his knees, and her voice softened. The sea of bitterness has no shore, but repentance is salvation. Child, it's good that you've come to your senses. About half an hour later, a familiar set of footsteps echoed in the hallway. Liam saw the pair of high heels she had worn for years, and a pang of pain shot through his chest. She loved high heels, but because of their financial struggles, she had never bought a new pair. What are you doing here? Chloe's voice was as cold as a winter wind, extinguishing the flicker of warmth that had just begun to grow in him. Liam took a deep breath, forced a smile, and extended his hand. Hello, my name is Liam Lin. Chloe's brows furrowed, as if she were looking at a madman. What is wrong with you? Move, I need to get home. Liam silently stepped aside. He knew that the deepest sorrow leaves no tears. The damage he had caused couldn't be erased with a few pretty words. The door opened, and when Sophie saw Liam, she recoiled like a startled deer, hiding behind Chloe. The pain struck Liam's heart again. He placed the snacks and toys on the floor and said gently, Sophie, don't be afraid. Daddy won't come in. These are for you. Your favorite, Princess Elsa. Where did you get the money? Chloe's expression turned even colder. Did you ask your parents for it again? Liam, when will you ever grow up? I'm begging you, just leave us alone. Liam wanted to explain, to show her his bank balance. I don't want to see it. Chloe cut him off sharply. Leave? Go now? If you don't leave, I'm calling the police. Okay, I'm going. Liam had no choice but to retreat. He walked down the stairs, looking back with every step, only to hear Chloe call out from behind him. Wait. Today, Leo Lee tore up the debt note in front of me. What? I helped him make some money. He tore it up as a thank you. Liam answered truthfully. Heh. Chloe let out a chilling, bitter laugh. Do you really think I'm that stupid? She gave him no more chances to explain, slamming the door shut. Liam stood downstairs, a wry smile on his face. She had taken the gifts, and she had asked about the debt. That meant there was still a chance. Inside, Sophie was excitedly unwrapping her presents. Suddenly, from one of the toy bags, she pulled out a thick stack of red $100 bills. Mommy, look. Money. Lots of money. Chloe froze. She rushed over and saw that there were 9 more stacks just like it in the plastic bag. A full $10,000. Beneath the money was a folded piece of paper. With trembling hands, Chloe opened it. It was Liam's familiar handwriting. Chloe, I earned this money honestly. Please, use it without worry. Pay back our relatives, and use the rest to take care of yourself and Sophie. I know a few words can't erase the past, but I hope you'll give me a chance to make it right. The old Liam is dead. From now on, you and Sophie are my entire world. I will never let you suffer again. Never. Tears fell silently, soaking the paper. For a moment, Chloe wanted to rip the letter and the money to shreds and throw them out the window. But in the end, she just carefully folded the note and tucked it away in the deepest part of her drawer. That night, back in his apartment, Liam planned his next move. The premium Moutai liquor, a real estate boom, a specific stock's decline, a breakthrough cold medicine. These were the cornerstones of the empire Liam would build. He called Leo Lee again. This time, he was going to hoard Moutai. Brother, you're targeting Moutai? Leo's voice was filled with excitement. Yes, the price is going to spike in a few days. We need to buy as much as we can. But, is this information reliable? Leo was still a bit hesitant. Like I said, Liam replied coolly. I can see the future. Leo remembered the heart-pounding gamble with the concert tickets. His hesitation then had cost him millions. He gritted his teeth, afraid of regretting it again. Damn it, I'm in. If you're willing to go all in, brother, then so am I. Tell me what to do, and I'll do it. Liam transferred his remaining $180,000 to Leo. On the other end of the line, Leo made his decision, committing all $1.1 million of his liquid assets to this new gamble. At 9 that night, Leo called, his voice full of the bravado of someone who had just bet the farm. Brother, as you commanded, all the money is spent. The numbers sat silently in his bank account, but Liam's heart felt heavier than ever. He sat in the cold apartment, the aged faces of his parents and the disappointed eyes of his siblings flashing in his mind. The family bonds he had personally shredded were like 1,000 needles, pricking him with every breath. He picked up his phone, only to put it down again, powerless. It wasn't time yet, he knew. He shifted his focus to planning his future. Among the countless possibilities he could see, one name shone like a star, Victor Zhang. In the dim light of an internet cafe, Liam greedily searched for everything he could find about the man. Victor Zhang, a genius whose temperament was as arrogant as his name suggested. He held a proposal for a revolutionary cold medicine that could upend the entire pharmaceutical industry, but his stubborn pride had led to him being rejected by every major company, dismissed as a madman. Liam knew, however, that this madman would soon develop a breakthrough cancer treatment, becoming a national hero who would save countless families. Victor Zhang. Liam rubbed his temples, his eyes gleaming with determination. You will be mine. But for now, he lacked the capital and, more importantly, the connections to set this grand plan in motion. August 29th, evening. In the old apartment complex, Chloe opened the door to find her in-laws standing outside, laden with bags. Dad, Mom, what are you doing here? She exclaimed in surprise. Grandma. Sophie flew into her grandmother's arms like a little bird. The family was happy, as if the shadows of the past had never existed. But when Liam's father, Mr. Lin, happened to see the fading bruises on his granddaughter's arm and the faint marks on Chloe's face, the smile on his face froze. It was replaced by a towering rage. That bastard did this again. The old man's body trembled with fury. That animal. How did I, Mr. Lin, raise such an animal? Call him. Tell him to get his ass back here right now. When Liam got the call, he was eating a street-side sandwich. He rushed back to the apartment. The moment he stepped through the door, he was met with his father's powerful kick. He stumbled back and fell to the floor. Are you even a man? Hitting your wife and child. Is that all you're good for? Mr. Lin's eyes were bloodshot, like an enraged lion. He lunged forward and delivered another resounding slap. You found a woman this good because our ancestors were smiling on you. And you don't cherish her, you just beat her. Why don't you just go die? The old man grew so angry that he actually turned to go to the kitchen for a knife. I'm going to chop off those 2 hands of yours today. Dad, Chloe was terrified. She threw her arms around Mr. Lin, and in her desperation, she cried out, Dad, stop hitting him. We're already divorced. I'm not his wife anymore. He can't hit me again. Her words were like a lightning bolt that struck everyone in the room. Mr. Lin and his wife seemed to deflate, all their energy gone. They aged 10 years in an instant. Divorced. Divorced is good. Mr. Lin muttered, his eyes vacant. His wife was already sobbing uncontrollably. Dad, Mom. Liam got up from the floor, the blood on his lip starkly visible. Don't call me Dad. Mr. Lin turned away, his voice chillingly calm. I don't have a son like you. The proudest moment of my life was when you married Chloe. Now, it's all my fault. I failed to teach you how to be a man. He turned and walked away, his back resolute. His wife looked at her bloodied son, her eyes filled with disappointment, and followed her husband out. In that moment, Liam truly understood what it meant to have his family shattered. Back in his empty apartment, he bought several bottles of cheap liquor and drank himself into a stupor. He was woken the next morning by a frantic call from Leo Lee. My dear brother, you had me worried sick. Leo's voice was so high-pitched with excitement, it nearly cracked. Did you happen to foresee that the price of premium Moutai would more than double overnight? Liam's foggy brain finally cleared. He opened his phone. The top business headline was blaring. Premium Moutai price surges unexpectedly, skyrocketing from $300 to $800 a bottle. All my friends are going crazy, asking me where I got the tip. Ha ha. Leo laughed wildly on the other end, immensely pleased with his decisive all-in bet. Brother, Leo suddenly lowered his voice. I have a friend who is very curious about you. He wants to meet. His name is Zane Zhou. He's the son of our city's most powerful official. Liam's eyes lit up. This was a godsend. He was just worrying about his lack of connections, and an opportunity fell right into his lap. All right, you arrange it. The meeting was set for 10 the next morning at Trident International. This surprised Liam, as it was the company where Chloe worked. The next day, Liam changed into a newly bought suit, looking completely transformed. When he and Leo walked into the magnificent lobby of Trident International, they immediately caught the attention of several young women at the reception desk. Just as they stepped into an elevator, a familiar figure walked by in the distance. Chloe watched the elevator doors slide shut, a flicker of confusion in her eyes. Was that him? What would he be doing here? She instinctively thought he was here for a job interview, but she quickly dismissed the idea. Shaking her head, she decided her eyes were playing tricks on her and walked toward her desk. Chapter 6. The office of the executive president of Trident International's China region was vast, nearly 2,000 square feet, yet it wasn't decorated with lavish art or furniture. Instead, the walls were lined with a collection of swords and daggers, each one gleaming with a cold, sharp light. The office's occupant, Hugo Han, was a man as sharp as his blades. When Liam and Leo Li walked in, Hugo rose to greet them warmly, showing none of the airs of a powerful executive. On the sofa opposite him, a young man was sizing Liam up with a critical gaze. This was Zane Zhou, the son of Azure Bay City's most powerful official, and his arrogance practically radiated from him. Leo, is this the miracle worker you were talking about? Zane's tone was playful, but he didn't even bother to look Liam in the eye. Leo Li flushed with embarrassment. He hadn't expected Zane to be so dismissive. He had intended to build a bridge for Liam, but now it felt like he'd led him into an ambush. I've heard much about you, Mr. Zhou. It's an honor to finally meet you, Liam said with a smile, seemingly unfazed by the hostility. Save the pleasantries. Zane leaned back on the sofa, making no attempt to hide his disdain. Leo said you can tell fortunes, and you got lucky with that Mount I tip. But let me tell you, luck runs out. You'd do well to remember that. Don't mind him, Mr. Lin. Zane's just got a bad temper, Hugo said, bringing over some tea to smooth things over. I won't have any tea. Liam suddenly stood up. The smile remained on his face, but his eyes grew sharp. I came here today hoping to spare Mr. Zhou from a disaster. Since I'm clearly not welcome, I'll take my leave. Are you cursing me? Zane's face darkened. I'm simply stating a fact, Liam retorted, throwing Zane's own words back at him. The atmosphere crackled with tension. Leo was sweating bullets, and even Hugo frowned. Zane, now thoroughly provoked, sneered. Fine. Then please, enlighten me, Master Lin. What disaster awaits me? Liam looked him straight in the eye and spoke, each word deliberate. Mr. Zhou, you have a shipment of red wine, don't you? From the Metran vineyard in France? About 10,000 bottles, with a total value of 5 million. The sneer on Zane's face froze. He shot up from the sofa, his voice cracking. How did you know? This wine shipment was his secret weapon, his big move to make a name for himself. Besides his innermost circle, no one else knew. Hugo and Leo were equally stunned by the sudden turn of events. Liam ignored his shock and dropped another bombshell. I don't know if you'll make a name for yourself, but I do know that wine is fake. It's poisonous enough to kill someone. You're full of it. Zane exploded, roaring like an enraged lion. My entire fortune is tied up in that shipment. The Metran Vineyard's reputation is world-renowned. How could it be fake? He had already made over 2 million from this supply line without a single issue. Have you tested the wine? Liam's casual question instantly deflated Zane's tirade. He hadn't. He really hadn't tested it. Seeing Liam's confident expression, Zane's heart began to pound. Urged on by Hugo, he gritted his teeth and dialed his assistant. Wait, that Metran shipment. Grab 3 random bottles. Now, immediately. Get them to the Quality Inspection Bureau for testing. For the next half hour, the office was deathly silent. Zane glared at Liam, as if trying to burn holes through him with his eyes. Leo sat on pins and needles. Only Liam seemed at ease, leisurely sipping the rare De Hong Pao tea Hugo had brewed, as if he had all the time in the world. Finally, a shrill ringtone shattered the oppressive silence. Zane answered the call with a trembling hand. Zane, Mr. Zhou. His assistant's voice was on the verge of tears. It's fake. All 3 bottles are fake. They're full of industrial alcohol. It's lethal. The phone slipped from Zane's hand and clattered to the floor. He looked as if his soul had been ripped from his body, his face pale as death. He frantically tried to contact his supplier overseas, but the number was disconnected. Damn it! Zane let out a desperate roar and hurled his new phone against the wall, shattering it to pieces. Leo and Hugo watched, dumbfounded. When they looked at Liam again, their eyes were filled with a mixture of awe and fear. What kind of man was this? Mr. Lin. Zane snapped back to reality. He remembered Liam's words, "spare you from a disaster," and thought about the cataclysm that would have befell his family if this wine had reached the market. A cold sweat soaked his shirt. His knees went weak, and he actually started to fall to his knees before Liam. "Mr. Joe, there's no need for that." Liam quickly caught him and helped him up. "Brother Liam." Zane's address for him changed, his voice thick with tears and profound fear. "Thank you. You saved me. You saved my entire family. From now on, you're my brother. Your business is my business." The atmosphere in the room shifted from icy to boiling in an instant. A monumental crisis, averted with a calm word from Liam. Zane's disdain had transformed into fervent admiration. Hugo also dropped any pretense of superiority, treating Liam as an honored guest. Even Leo Lee's status soared for having made the introduction. As the men were talking animatedly, planning a celebratory dinner, there was a knock on the door. "Come in," Hugo said. The door opened, and a figure in a professional suit walked in. "Mr. Han, I'm Chloe Chin from the project department, regarding." Her words trailed off. She was staring at the man sitting on the sofa, laughing and talking with Mr. Han and Zane Zhou Liam. "It's really you?" Chloe couldn't believe her eyes. What was he doing here? "Mr. Lin, you two know each other?" Hugo asked, intrigued. "Yes, we do." "No, we don't." Liam and Chloe spoke at the exact same time, and the mood in the room immediately became awkward. Seeing Chloe's face flush with embarrassment, Liam suddenly smiled. He stood up, and in front of everyone, he looked at her with burning intensity. In a tone more serious than she had ever heard from him, he said, one word at a time, "I love her. I love her down to my bones. If I can't be her man, if I can't give her the happiest life, then the rest of my life will be a living hell." Liam's sudden confession sent ripples through the quiet office. Hugo Han was the first to recover. He looked at the stunned Chloe and laughed heartily. "Well, I never expected Mr. Lin's sweetheart to be right here under my own roof. What a small world." "Mr. Han, it's not what you think." Chloe stammered, her face turning crimson as she tried to explain. "Put the report aside for now." Hugo waved his hand dismissively and issued a direct order. "I want you to take over the Huazhong and Tingguang projects. I'll speak with your director, Director Liu. From now on, you'll be in full charge." Chloe's eyes went wide, her mind a complete blank. The Huazhong and Tingguang projects were the company's most coveted assignments, plums that even senior employees couldn't hope to touch, let alone a junior staffer like her. How could such an enormous opportunity suddenly fall into her lap? Her gaze instinctively shot to Liam. It was him. It had to be because of him. Just because he said he liked her, Mr. Han was. This was absurd. What kind of incredible power did Liam possess to make the executive president of Trident International value him so highly, even speaking to him with a hint of reverence? "Mr. Han, thank you for your generosity, but I'm too inexperienced. I'm afraid I'm not up to the task," Chloe said, forcing herself to remain calm and choosing to decline. "You are Mr. Lin's sweetheart. I trust you have the ability." Hugo's words made it explicitly clear. This was all because of Liam. Chloe felt her entire worldview crumbling. Making an excuse, she practically fled from the office that had become so suffocating. Watching her hasty departure, a flicker of disappointment crossed Liam's eyes. "Brother Liam, you have great taste." Zane sidled up to him, full of genuine admiration. "You can tell she's a good woman. She wasn't even tempted by such a huge offer. That's rare." "She's my ex-wife," Liam said, shaking his head with a bitter smile. "We just finalized the divorce a week ago." Zane's compliment landed with a thud. He shut his mouth, embarrassed. Back in the project department, Chloe's heart was still racing. Her friend, Sarah, came over, full of gossip. "Chloe, I saw you staring at Mr. Han and his guests. Did one of them catch your eye?" Chloe was silent for a long time before she finally murmured, "The most handsome one. That was my ex-husband, Liam." "What?" Sarah's jaw nearly hit the floor. "He's the one you told me about." She quickly covered her mouth, then said indignantly, "Humph, he looks decent on the outside, but he's just another rotten apple. Chloe, you can't let him fool you again." Chloe gave a sad smile. Yes, a leopard can't change its spots. How could she allow herself to hope again? But for some reason, one thought kept echoing in her mind. He seems different. He really seems different. That evening, at the Oceanus Hotel, on the 58th floor, in the Celestial Pavilion, this was the exclusive playground of Azure Bay's elite, a place of staggering luxury. As the group waited for the hotel's young owner, Nico Hong, a surprised voice called out from the doorway. Liam turned to see a man in gold-rimmed glasses standing there. It was his old college classmate and one of his former romantic rivals, Dylan Zhang. "Of course it's me. Not everyone can be a big shot in school like you, only to become a total failure in the real world," Dylan said with extreme sarcasm as he walked into the room. His years of resentment finally had an outlet. The faces of Zane, Hugo, and Leo instantly darkened. "I hear you like to hit women now, even your own kid. You're a real piece of work, a damn animal." Dylan grew more excited as he spoke, completely oblivious to the strange atmosphere in the room. "I just don't get what Chloe ever saw in you. Look at you now. You're not even worthy of polishing my shoes. He pulled out several stacks of cash from his briefcase and threw them on the table. He looked down on Liam and said, Liam, you like money, right? Here's 5,000. If you get on your knees and apologize to me right now, and then have Chloe spend a few days with me, this money is yours. Brother Liam. Zane's fists were clenched so tight his knuckles were white. Drunk on his own power trip, Dylan actually reached out and ruffled Zane Joe's hair as if he were petting a dog. Hey kid, you're still wet behind the ears, huh? Don't let this guy fool you. Stick with trash like him, and you'll lose everything. Zane's face turned so dark it looked like it was about to storm. In his entire life, no one outside his family had ever dared to touch his head. Dylan then arrogantly poked Hugo Han and Leo Lee in the chest. And you too, hanging out with this kind of person will be the ruin of you. You seem to think very highly of yourself. May I ask who you are? Hugo's voice had turned cold. Who are you to ask about me? Dylan said, completely dismissive. Liam smiled. He turned to Hugo. Since he wants to know, why don't you tell him? Hugo enunciated each word clearly. Trident International. Executive President for the Eastland Province, China Region. Hugo Han. Dylan's smile froze on his face. Cold sweat began to bead on his forehead. The advertising firm he worked for dreamed of landing a contract with Trident International, and the man standing before him was their top decision-maker in the entire province. Next, Leo Lee announced his identity. Leo Lee, General Manager of Horizon Financial. Horizon Financial? Dylan's legs began to tremble. His own boss owed money to Horizon Financial and was constantly being hounded by their collectors, often showing up to work bruised and battered. In his mind, Leo Lee was even more terrifying than Hugo Han. Just then, the door to the room opened, and a large, bald man walked in. It was Nico Hong, the young owner of the Oceanus Hotel. Director Zheng, what are you doing here? Nico asked, surprised. Monk, Zane pointed to his own hair and asked coldly, how's my hair look? Looks terrible. That's right. Zane pointed at the now ashen-faced Dylan. He's the one who messed it up for me. Nico's expression instantly darkened. Without a word, he strode forward and delivered a resounding slap. The sharp crack echoed through the room. You deserve that. Nico roared. You dare to touch Zane Zhou's head? Tell me, is there anything you wouldn't dare to do? The sound of slaps filled the room as Dylan was beaten until he was bleeding from his nose and mouth. He fell to his knees, scrambling and crawling to grab Liam's pant leg, begging for mercy. Liam, I was wrong. I'll never do it again. Please let me go. Get out. Liam's voice was calm, without a trace of emotion. As if granted a pardon, Dylan was about to flee when Liam's voice rang out again, like a judgment from hell. If you ever think about Chloe again, I'll have you castrated. Dylan Zheng scrambled out of the celestial pavilion, his two lackeys following close behind, not daring to breathe too loudly. The room quickly returned to a harmonious atmosphere, as if the earlier drama had never occurred. Brother Liam, let me introduce you, Zane said, pointing to the bald, imposing man. This is Nico Hong, the future heir of the Oceanus Group. I call him Monk. Nico slapped Zane on the back, laughing. Get lost. I just shaved my head to stay cool. He turned to Liam, extending a hand as large as a dinner plate with great enthusiasm. If Zane calls you Brother Liam, then I will too. It's a pleasure to meet you. I hope you'll look out for me in the future. Outside the door, Zane had quickly filled him in on the miracle of how Liam had saved the Zhou family from ruin. Though Nico appeared simple and rugged, he was sharp as a tack. He knew better than to be anything but respectful to the man who had brought the great Zane Zhou to heel. Soon, plate after plate of premium seafood arrived at the table. Azure Bay City was a coastal city, and the ingredients at the Oceanus Hotel were the best of the best. Nico personally served Liam a large swimmer crab, plump with roe. The enticing aroma made Liam's mouth water. How long had it been since he'd eaten something this good? In fact, he'd never eaten this well in his entire life. However, as he picked up the crab, the thin faces of Chloe and Sophie appeared in his mind. While he had money for gambling and drinking, his wife and daughter had to tighten their belts, hesitating even to buy a little ground meat. Brother Liam, what's wrong? You don't like it? Zane's voice broke his train of thought. I like it. Of course I do, Liam said, coming back to himself. He smiled and placed the crab back on his plate. He turned to Nico. Monk, a pound of these crabs must go for at least 800 here, right? Brother Liam knows his stuff. Nico gave him a thumbs up. Liam sighed internally. He had truly been a monster. Meanwhile, in the back of a BMW 5 Series, Dylan Zheng sat with his face still red and swollen. He took out his phone and searched for the name Zane Zhou. A piece of information popped up that struck him like a bolt of lightning. Zane Zhou, General Manager of Chongyan Wine Imports, son of Azure Bay City's top official, Marcus Zhou. What happened today never happened. If either of you dares to breathe a word of this, I'll kill you. Dylan hissed at his two subordinates, his voice a choked sob. Back in the Celestial Pavilion, after several rounds of drinks, the mood was jovial. Leo Lee had fully integrated into a circle he previously could only dream of. Monk, can you have the kitchen prepare a few more dishes for me later? I want to take them home for my kid, Liam said, wiping his mouth. No problem. Brother Liam is a true family man. Nico readily agreed. Liam could only offer a bitter smile. A family man. If he were truly a family man, he wouldn't have ended up divorced and alone. Seeing that Liam was about to leave, Hugo Han quickly spoke up. Mr. Lin, allow me to give you a ride home. The ride is just an excuse. You have something you want to ask, don't you? Liam looked at him with a knowing smile. Hugo coughed, embarrassed. It's nothing major, I was hoping you could take a look at my fortune as well. Mr. Han, you're 36 and still not married. Don't tell me you want me to read your romantic fortune? Liam teased. Don't joke, Mr. Lin. With my qualifications, do you think I'd have trouble getting married? Hugo said with a confident smile. But the smile on Liam's face faded. He said flatly, if you weren't sitting here today, you might never have gotten married. His words silenced the entire room. The color drained from Hugo's face, and his breathing became ragged. Liam ignored his shock and continued. The day after tomorrow, September 2nd, you're planning a business trip, aren't you? Taking the 9:30 ferry from the Cross Sea Harbor. The ship is called the Poseidon. A bomb went off in Hugo's head. His mind went blank. He finally understood how Zane had felt. This information was known only to him and his secretary. No one else. Not only did Liam know, but he had stated the time, place, and the ship's name with perfect accuracy. Incredible. Truly incredible. Hugo's voice trembled. The reason you've been feeling uneasy is because of the impending calamity, Liam said, looking at him. And it's not just one. Hugo stood up and bowed deeply to Liam. I beg for your guidance, Mr. Lin. I, Hugo Han, will be eternally grateful. The first calamity is that cruise ship. Cancel your ticket immediately. Take a plane instead. When the Poseidon approaches the Valenian Sea, it will encounter a severe thunderstorm. There are fatalities on that ship. As for the second calamity, a playful smile touched Liam's lips. It's a romantic one. You have a lover in Europe, don't you? A Ukrainian woman? Hugo nearly choked on his own saliva. He felt completely exposed before Liam, as if he were standing there naked. Liam's smile vanished again, his eyes turning sharp. She's been bought by your rival, Slankiv. If you go on this trip, you'll be walking right into his trap. Slankiv. At the mention of that name, Hugo completely broke down. He was his biggest rival at headquarters. Thank you, Mr. Lin. Thank you for your guidance. Hugo bowed again, his back bent even lower this time. You helped Chloe. It's only right that I repay you, Liam said simply. After the meal, Nico packed a large food container with top-tier dishes for Liam. Liam declined Hugo's offer of a ride and took a taxi to the old apartment complex. In the car, he called Chloe. What is it? Chloe's voice was still cold. I had some food packed up. I was hoping you'd come home and eat with Sophie. No need, I'm busy. I've already spoken with Mr. Han. It's fine for you to come home, Liam said with a triumphant smile. Chloe was about to argue when another call came in from an unknown number. She hung up on Liam and answered. Hello, who is this? Sister-in-law Chloe? This is Hugo Han. Chloe was completely stunned. Mr. Han, I heard my niece is home alone. Why don't you take the afternoon off and go home? Liam has some food for you all. The three of you should have a nice get-together. From now on, whenever you need to, you can feel free to go home, Hugo said, and before Chloe could refuse, he hung up. Chloe stood there, dazed, with only one thought swirling in her head. Did Mr. Han just call me sister-in-law? Back at the apartment complex, Liam received a call from Leo Lee just as he was getting out of the taxi. Leo excitedly informed him that their entire stock of Moutai liquor had been sold, and the payment was on its way. The success of this venture had earned Liam immense respect from Zane Zhou and Nico Han. Carrying the takeout container worth a small fortune, Liam ran into Mrs. Wang taking out the trash. He warmly offered her a few of the large, succulent swimmer crabs. The old woman, feeling the weight of the crabs in her hand, looked at him with a mixture of relief and concern over his lavish spending. Standing before the familiar security door, Liam called out for his daughter again. Sophie's voice came from behind the door, timid. The sight of her father being beaten had clearly left a mark on the little girl. Just then, Chloe arrived. Seeing the food in Liam's hands, her face immediately frosted over. We haven't even finished the last things you brought, and now you're buying more? We're doing fine. We don't need your condescending charity. I was just worried about Sophie eating alone. Liam's voice was filled with helplessness. You're worried now? Where were you before? Every word from Chloe was like a knife. You're putting on this show of repentance just to get money from me, aren't you? Let's see how long you can keep this up. Though her words were harsh, Liam heard a sliver of hope in them. She wanted him to keep it up. After some persuasion from Mrs. Wang next door, who wisely said, "What's meant to be will be," Chloe finally gritted her teeth and let Liam in. She closed the door and watched his every move like a wary sentinel, terrified that this fleeting moment of peace would pop like a soap bubble. Liam did not disappoint. He carefully opened the containers, laying out the spiny lobster, swimmer crabs, and chocolate pudding on the table. The aroma of the food finally broke down Sophie's defenses. The little girl ate the delicacies she had never tasted before, her big eyes shining with happiness as she exclaimed, "Daddy is the best daddy in the world." Liam seized the opportunity to stroke his daughter's head. Her soft hair melted his heart. At the doorway, Chloe watched the heartwarming scene, her own heart a battlefield of conflicting emotions. She wasn't hungry, but her stomach betrayed her with a growl. Liam smiled and urged her to join them. Though she muttered, "It's just okay," her body honestly sat down at the table. The meal was warm, yet silent. Afterwards, however, Chloe took the plastic bag containing the $10,000 in cash from a cabinet and tossed it coldly at Liam. "You've been trying so hard just for this money, right? Take it and stop pretending." "Chloe," Liam felt he had to explain. He took out his phone and showed her the bank notification for a $480,000 deposit. "This is money I earned." "Look." Chloe stared at the long string of zeros, completely stunned. Then her expression changed, and her voice grew sharp. "Where did you get so much money?" "Liam, you can't be doing anything illegal. Think about your parents. Think about Sophie. What will people say about her?" Liam smiled bitterly and explained everything, scalping the concert tickets and hoarding them out. Chloe had heard news reports about both events. The timing and details matched, but she couldn't understand how Liam had managed to be on the right side of every single one. "I never knew you had this kind of skill," she asked, frowning. "You should thank your brother. If he hadn't pushed me that day." Liam began to explain his ability to see the future, but his words were misinterpreted. "I knew it." Chloe's face instantly turned to ice. "You're still holding a grudge against my brother. I knew you hadn't changed at all." "No, that's not what I meant." Liam panicked, trying to explain, but Chloe had lost all patience. "You've had your meal. Take your money and get out." She pushed him out the door, along with the bag of cash. The security door slammed shut. Standing outside, Liam slapped himself hard across the face. He had ruined everything. The next day, September 2nd, the day of Hugo Hahn's trip, Liam woke up early, only to find that Leo Lee's assets had been frozen by his wife. He had planned to bring Leo in on another profitable venture, but now he had to find someone else. He thought of Zane Zhou. The city's #1 son had just lost $5 million and was in dire need of a financial boost. When Zane answered, Liam got straight to the point. "No small talk. You lost $5 million yesterday. I'm going to help you win some back. Go to Violet Gold Manor. I'll meet you at the sales office." Violet Gold Manor. Zane was shocked. "Brother Liam, that development is practically a ghost town. It's in the middle of nowhere. How can we make money there?" "Just come. How much you make this time depends on how much cash you bring today," Liam said and hung up, his voice filled with an unshakable confidence. At the Zhou family estate, Zane was reporting the fake wine incident to his father, Marcus, and his grandfather, Walter. The two elders, while shaken, were also deeply curious about the mysterious Liam Lin. Just then, Liam's call came in. After hanging up, Zane turned to his father and grandfather. He said, "Violet Gold Manor will make me a fortune." Marcus and Walter Zhou exchanged a look, and a storm of shock raged in their eyes. The southern suburb where Violet Gold Manor was located was set to be announced as a new key development zone at a press conference the very next day. This information was currently the city's most sensitive secret. How did Liam Lin know? Could it be that he really could see the future? In the southern suburbs of Azure Bay City, at the Violet Gold Manor development, the large sales office was deserted. Only a few listless sales agents were hunched over, staring at their phones. Liam sat on a sofa, and for half an hour, not a single person approached him. It was no wonder. The property was remote and had long been written off by the market. The agents who remained were either running out the clock or had nowhere else to go. At 10 in the morning, an Audi Q7 pulled up, and Zane Zhou arrived. He took in the lifeless sales office, then glanced at the empty coffee table in front of Liam, and his temper flared. "Brother Liam, this is the place?" Zane frowned. "Look at these agents. They look like zombies. You'd have to be crazy to buy a house here." His voice was loud enough for a male agent to retort. "What's that supposed to mean?" "What? You got a problem with it?" Zane's explosive temper ignited. "People save their whole lives to buy a house, and they have to put up with your attitude? No wonder this place is empty." Just then, a young woman from the front desk timidly approached with 2 glasses of water. Her name was Phoebe Pei. She was a recent graduate, and due to her lack of experience, she was relegated to menial tasks like serving drinks. She felt embarrassed to have let a guest sit for so long without any service. "See? The water's here now," Liam said, taking a glass and signaling for Zane to quiet down. Liam turned to the receptionist. "Can you sign a contract?" Phoebe paused, then shook her head in surprise. "Sir, I'm not a sales agent, but I can find one for you." "No need. I want you." Liam's smile was warm and firm. "Trust me, you can do this." A wave of warmth washed over Phoebe. It was the first time since entering the workforce that she had received such direct validation. "Brother Liam, you're not trying to hit on her, are you?" Zane whispered from the side. "Cut the crap." Liam shot him a look. "Tell me, how much money did you bring?" Zane sobered up and held up 5 fingers. $5 million. Liam nodded, then turned back to Phoebe. "Get your manager. We're planning to buy over 100 units." 100 units. The words exploded like a thunderclap in the empty office. Phoebe's mouth fell open. The other agents, who had been engrossed in their phones, all snapped their heads up, their eyes wide with shock and disbelief. The sales manager, Wayne Wong, was summoned. Looking at the two young men before him, he had only one thought: a couple of rich suckers. After some token haggling, the price was set at $16,000 per square meter. Liam and Zane signed the deposit contracts with a flourish. Liam used his $480,000 to put a deposit on 96 units. Zane used his $5 million for 100. Between them, they had claimed nearly a sixth of the entire development. A pleasure doing business with you. Wayne Wong was beaming, his face flushed with excitement. This multi-million-dollar deposit was enough for him to go out and celebrate in style. Mr. Lin. As Liam and Zane were about to leave, Phoebe chased after them. Blushing, she asked quietly, Can I add you on WeChat? For anything related to the properties, you can ask me anytime. Anyone could see that Liam had given her this opportunity. Phoebe had summoned her courage, hoping to grasp this branch that might change her life. However, Liam just smiled and shook his head. Let's skip the WeChat. Just work hard, and you'll build the life you want. He paused, his tone becoming incredibly sincere. I'm already married. I have a wife and a child. I love them very much, and they love me. Phoebe stood frozen. The other agents, who had been waiting for a dramatic scene, were green with envy. Leaving the sales office, Zane couldn't help but admire him. Brother Liam, you're a good man. But now that you have some money, you should buy a car. Taking taxis all the time is inconvenient. Liam nodded, about to speak, when his phone buzzed with a WeChat notification. He assumed it was Phoebe again and ignored it. But immediately after, a call came through from Chloe. Sophie is trying to add you on WeChat. She's about to cry. Add her. Chloe's voice was tinged with exasperation. Liam quickly opened the app and accepted the friend request. The profile picture was Sophie's adorable smiling face, the username a system default. The moment he accepted, a video call request popped up. To the old apartment complex, Liam said to Zane as he got in the car. He answered the call, and Sophie's little face appeared on the screen. Sophie's little face appeared on the screen. You stinky daddy. You knew it was me and you made me wait on purpose. Daddy, I want to eat a big meal. The little girl pouted, her pitiful expression melting Liam's heart. He caught a glimpse of Chloe's figure moving in the background behind Sophie, and his heart leaped. He spoke softly to his daughter. Okay, Daddy is on his way to get you a big meal right now. After hanging up, a blissful smile spread across Liam's face. He knew Chloe was home, and more importantly, she hadn't said no.